Good morning and welcome to our Caring for the Caregiver seminar presented by Community Hospice and Sutter Health. We're so happy to have you join us today on this lovely warm day, July the 8th. Our topic today is what is stress and helpful tips to manage stress. And our presenter today is Ms. Kieran Desi, and Kieran is our clinical educator here at Community Hospice. Kieran has been with Community Hospice for, I believe, 9 years now and has had many different roles within the organization, most currently being our clinical educator, and does a great job providing education to the community on various topics, as well as providing education and competency work with our clinical staff here at Community Hospice. Prior to Community Hospice, she worked at Doctors Medical Center and Emmanuel Medical Center. She received her degree from Merced College in Merced, and in 2018, she was awarded our Outstanding Nurse Award by the Modesto Junior College Nursing Alumni Association. We're so grateful for everything that Kieran does here at Community Hospice. She's a joy to work with, and our community is really blessed to have her provide education on end-of-life topics as well as aging topics, including today's on what is stress. So with that, I do want to remind everyone that we are recording this session. We will have it available on our Community Hospice YouTube channel, as well as send it out in an e-blast to all of our community members that participate. And please share it with your friends as well. We'll be taking questions throughout the presentation, so please feel free to speak up if you have any questions, or you can enter them into the chat box and I'm happy to answer them there as well. So with that, again, welcome. And Kieran, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
So much, Kristen. I'm so embarrassed, but I'm so proud that you, with this introduction, I'm sorry. So without further ado, thank you guys for joining us. Today, we're going to talk about stress and some helpful tips to manage stress. And this year and a half, COVID and everything else, has been a lot of different types of stresses going on. So I'd love this presentation to be interactive. Please feel free to interject at any point in time, and we'll get started. So let's just define what stress is. Stress is our mind and our body's response to a real or imagined threat or event or change. Things that I don't know about most of you, but I do not handle change well. And whether it's big or small, I become anxious, and I am often making up stories in my own mind of what these changes might develop into. And so with that comes a lot of stress. So it meets that guideline of imagined threat or just a change. And it's just the way that our minds and our bodies respond to that. The threat or event is commonly called a stressor, okay? Real easy. There are different types of stresses. Some are internal stresses and some are external. So our internal stresses are our thoughts, our beliefs, and our attitudes. And then external stresses are our losses, any tragedies that we've had, and any major changes in our lives. A loss could be a home that we've lost. A tragedy could be an accident that we've experienced or been a participant in. A loss of a loved one, or change could just be as simple as just moving to a new location, changing jobs, or even moving into a new home. One part, it's really exciting, but the other portion of it can be really stressful. Just packing and labeling and moving and all of these different things can add a layer of burden to our minds and our bodies. And so then we have additional stress. According to the CDC, we have some oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. We have some information that it talks about stress, and it tells us stress is the basic cause of at least 60% of all of our illnesses and our disease. It's research is what I was trying to say. And stress increases the risk of heart disease by at least 40%. And that is a huge number. If we're talking about stress causing illness at 60% and 40% of that can be heart related, that is a major stress on our bodies and our heart. And just a day-to-day living can be very difficult for us. Stress increases the risk of stroke by 50%, and then stress increases the tendency to overeat by 40% because we're trying to always find a way to comfort and ease that stress. And then stress causes a decrease in sleep by 44% because that stress then can cause anxiety, and the anxiety then causes us to be restless. And for most of us, we don't sleep because on our mind is all of these different thoughts and processes that we're trying to make sense of and figure out how do we balance all of these issues that again, either have happened or have not happened. And it's usually a tendency for us to look into the future at things that have not yet happened that causes so much distress. So we want to, as we go through, just talk about what that looks like. Some symptoms related to the stress can be emotional. So we can become irritable, we can have anxiety, we can fall into depression, and every level of depression, right? Mild depression where we just are so fatigued and we really don't interact very well, to very deep depression where we really want to curl up in a ball and not function at all. We can have mood swings. Cognitively, we can become forgetful, we have racing thoughts, we are not able to concentrate on anything. Everything seems too much of a burden. It becomes hard for us to focus on any one thing at any given moment in time. Some of the behavioral issues that we can come along, are just reliance on alcohol or other substances. When we are under these different stresses and our physical symptoms start to come into place, our bodies start to ache, we're really tired, when we're feeling depressed or having mood swings, we rely on alcohol or pills or Advil or whatever that looks like to try and help us to achieve that normalcy that we normally would have, where we don't have that anxiety or those different symptoms that are coming along. We avoid responsibility because more responsibility causes added stress, added anxiety, and so we're trying to diminish that. Some people nail bite, and some people take risky behaviors, driving the car too fast, doing rock climbing, paragliding, things that they wouldn't normally do. They start to take chances with their life, and sometimes with the lives of others along with them. Some physical symptoms can be insomnia, sleeplessness, loss of hair, low sexual drive, digestive issues. Some people get constipated, nauseated. Some people have a lot of diarrhea, just a heartburn. Any of those things can be caused by stress. Palpitations, high blood pressure, headaches that are unexplainable, things that they didn't usually have now become symptoms that they have, muscle tension and pain, and then overwhelming fatigue. Stress can come to us in many different ways. We can have stress that happens suddenly or it's just temporary. And then we have stress that has been with us and it has lasted with us. It can be job related, and it is so the difference between an episodic or a chronic stress, something that we are always feeling related to our job or our lifestyles, or something that happened all of a sudden because of a loss or because of a sudden change in our lives. So acute stress is the most common form. It's the short-term stress that comes from obvious triggers like running late for work or being involved in a motor vehicle accident. Episodic stress is very similar to acute stress, but it happens more frequently. If you know someone who's got a lot of nervous energy, it is because they're always running around or they're always running late. They are probably suffering from episodic acute stresses, and that is a behavioral issue and something that we can modify and help. And then chronic stress is the grinding stress that wears people down day by day, year after year. Chronic stress comes from ongoing issues like poverty, being trapped in an unhappy or unhealthy relationship, or working in a job that you really are not happy at all. And there's a little side note there that says because chronic stress wears us down over time, it can lead to physical distress like heart attacks, strokes, and then leading to suffering and breakdowns resulting in hurting ourselves quite often. So now that we know what stress is and what it looks like, and we want to talk about how we can help to manage some of these stresses. Some of these things that we can do are really self-awareness. And so we want to change the way that we think. We want to change the way that we eat, and we want to change our lifestyle within the reason that we are able to do these different things. If we talk about how we change our thinking, as caregivers, we often feel like we cannot do enough. Today, let's talk about self-talk. Let's talk about how many times we say to ourselves, I'm not good enough, I suck, I could have done this better, I'm not doing enough, because the person that we're caring for seems like they are suffering more, or they are deteriorating quickly, or just because in our own minds, we don't feel like we're doing a good enough job. So start your day with a deep breath and allow yourself a minute to say, I'm doing a good job. And it's okay not to be okay. You don't have to be perfect every day. Nobody ever is. For the moment, if you don't feel like you're okay, it is okay to give yourself a time out, to take a deep breath, to cry. Excuse me just one second. I didn't realize I left my phone on. It's okay to allow yourself to not be okay, and then just cry out, talk to somebody, take a long hot shower, whatever it takes for you to just get a sense of normalcy back to your own emotions and your physical self. You're doing the best that you can do. Often as caregivers, we're it. We're the people that everybody rely on. We're the people that everybody comes to. And then when people come to visit, they often have a lot of advice and suggestions. And because they haven't been there with us, going through all the different processes that we've been going through as caregivers, it can be sometimes hurtful. And it can sometimes, again, bring you back to that place of not feeling like you're good enough or that you're doing a good job. But remember, you've been there the whole time, and you're doing the best that you can do now. Okay, so it's just in the moment, just for that day. You don't have to worry about tomorrow or yesterday. The only thing that matters is where we are at the moment. You're important. Give yourself permission to understand that you are truly important. Without you, the person that you're caring for would not be being cared for. The people that you are taking care of, whether it's your young children, your elderly or aging parent, whether it is your loving husband or your wife, or even a sick pet, whatever it is in that moment, we have a tendency to put all of our effort and energy into what we're doing for that person. But you're important too. Give yourself 5 minutes in the day. Brush your teeth, wash your face, take a shower, drink your coffee before you run into the day and into taking care of somebody else. The more we give value to who we are, the better we are able to give to others. We have to be filled to a point where we can give back to others. Otherwise, we are so depleted that we're not able to give back. It's okay to take care of yourself first. Do that. It shows the person you care about that you're well enough to take care of them as well. The only person's opinion that matters is yours. You'll hear lots of voices around you telling you lots of different things, but because we're changing the way that we're thinking, we're staying positive, we're saying positive things about ourselves. Yours is the only opinion that matters. You are good. You're important. You're doing a good job. You're doing the best that you can do. And you're going to move from there. Know that you are worthy of love. You are good at this. Even on the days where you feel like you're not good at this and you feel depleted, you are good at this. You've been doing this for a really long time. So the person that you're caring about appreciates you even on the days they don't feel like being appreciative. But you are good at this. Asking others for help does not make you weak. Often we don't want to ask because we feel like we should be able to be self-sufficient. We cannot do all things and be all things to everybody. That's why we have relationships. That's why we have community. That's why we have different resources. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay for you not to be able to do everything. We don't have to be picture perfect all of the time. And then every time you feel the negativity coming in, breathe. Take a deep breath. Recenter yourself and go back to that beginning. I'm important. I'm doing a good job. I'm worthy of being loved. I'm good at this. It's going to be okay. Okay? Changing your lifestyle. Habits matter. The same way that the thinking is important and speaking positivity into our life is important, changing our lifestyle and our habits is important too. We're always on the run as caregivers. We've always got some place to be, and so we usually neglect our diet. We don't eat good food, right? It's not about dieting to try and lose weight or anything like that, but we just want to eat food that is going to give our body nourishment. McDonald's is not nourishment. A quick bag of chips is not nourishment. And I speak from experience because this is the tendencies I have. I'm in a rush. I'm just going to grab something. And it's a major amount of calories, but it really isn't fulfilling and it isn't helping me do very much. If you are smoking or drinking, reduce the amounts that you smoke and drink. Smoking, on one hand, may be helping with the anxiety, but in physically, it is constricting all your blood vessels. It's not allowing you to have enough oxygen to breathe and to think clearly and to make good decisions. And alcohol, again, it's not a bad thing. You do what you need to do, and a drink at the end of the day is fine. But if you're relying on that, reduce the amount that you have because it'll help you to function better. Physically, you will feel a lot better. Exercise. Who has time? There's not enough hours in the day to get the things done that you need to get done. But just exercising and breathing. If you can take time to sit still for a few minutes and take 10 deep cleansing breaths, that is a form of exercise. If you can take 5 minutes out of the day to just stretch, that is exercise. If the person you're caring for is able to get out of bed and get into a wheelchair and you're able to move them around, go for a gentle stroll, just 5 to 10 minutes. It's recommended 30 minutes, but if you can give yourself even 5 to 10 minutes, that is so helpful to your body. And then you can increase that as you can. Little spurts, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 10 minutes at the end of the day, whatever works for you. But be conscious of making that a routine in your life and calling it exercise. Running around is not exercise. My husband will say, I walk enough at work, but that is not really exercise, that's work. When we do things for exercise, our mind is relaxed, our body has a different tension to it, and our breathing changes, and that is actually beneficial to our bodies, whereas the type of work we do when exercise we are getting when we are working is actually stress related. So we want to do something that is actually going to benefit our bodies and release that stress. Sleep. It is recommended that we get at least 7.5 hours of sleep a night to function well. Most caregivers will tell you that they sleep 3 to 4 hours a day or a night because on their mind constantly is Is my loved one okay? What do I have to do the next day? All of these different things and thoughts and anxious feelings that come up in the middle of the night because you're trying to prepare for the day ahead. At the end of your night, before you start your relaxation techniques, because you should have one, make a list for yourself of everything you think you need to do the next day. That way you won't be thinking about it all night, and you'll have a list and it'll be off your plate for the night. Again, practice deep breathing before you go to sleep. It really helps to relax your body and get you in the right posture to sleep through the night. Okay. If you are aching, if you are hurting and you need a sleep aid, Tylenol or Advil, something like that, talk to your doctor, get something that'll help you to relax if the breathing is not enough for you. If stretching exercises are not enough for you, then absolutely see your physician and see if there's something else that you can take that would help your body to relax and your mind to relax as well. Do things for leisure. Learn to give yourself at least 5 minutes. My chaplain did that with me one time, and she goes, okay, 5 minutes of silence, and I almost had a panic attack. I'm like, that's a really long time, and I don't think I've ever sat still for that length of time. 5 minutes feel like eternity when you have to be still. But it was the best 5 minutes I think I spent in a really long time. The first 3 were probably crazy anxious thoughts of how am I going to last this long? How am I going to just sit still? And the last 2 minutes where I started to breathe and relax my mind and do my prayer and do a mantra of just deep breath and telling myself that I'm okay and that God is good and things are good and this is actually helping me. They're probably the best 2 minutes that I have ever spent, but it was hard. But it's a good thing to be able to do that. Allowing yourself some downtime, not running around, not cooking for anybody, not taking care of anybody, just time to yourself. Whatever that looks like, reading a book, however you feel like you need to do that, that is so beneficial to you. And it doesn't have to be a long time. 5 minutes sometimes is all that you need, but you need to be in a place that is not causing you more stress. So those 5 minutes, if it takes you 3 minutes to get to that place of relaxation, those last 2 minutes will be so worth it to you. Limiting your access to social media. That once you start on Facebook or whatever other area that you have social media on can be all consuming and it can pull you down into a rabbit hole. I'm very rarely on social media anymore. I very rarely watch the news unless it's pertinent. Just because it causes me so much anxiety. Our worlds have become so small with social media. Everything is compounded and it is so much stress to worry about what's happening on the other side of the world, if people are going to be okay, what politics is looking like. There's just so much and it's too much pressure. Give yourselves a break. The world's problems are not on our shoulders, and social media can often make it feel as if they are. Looking at other people's lives as they're posted sometimes makes us feel so inadequate. Again, we don't know the full picture. We only see what we see. So we want to take everything that we see and do with a grain of salt. Limit the time that you have on there. Don't be on it more than an hour throughout the day. If that's the way you relax, find a different way, because I'm not sure that that's the best thing. But the less eye contact we have with all these different blue lights and white lights, research shows that we do better. Our minds relax more. The different lights that are in these devices that we have now actually keep our minds activated for a lot longer. I think it said up to 3 hours after we've put our device down. So it takes us a lot longer to relax and just shut our minds off. So just up, especially if you're going to bed, at least 3 hours before you go to bed, if it's possible for you to do that. And then just, again, breathe. It's so important to have that as part of your normal day-to-day life. Any thoughts or comments or questions? Because I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking.
I don't see anything right now, Karen. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, and then we're moving on to changing our behavior, recognizing our limits. It's okay to have limits. It's okay that we don't know everything. That's again what our resources are for. Even as a nurse, I don't know everything. I have a specific knowledge base, but I don't know some of the things that people are doing in the hospitals. I know what's happening in hospice. I know what's happening end of life. I know what's happening in the palliative care world. I don't always keep up with the acute care world. And so I have to reach out. My children are grown. They are almost into their 30s. And so sometimes I don't remember what to do with young children. And I have to ask, what activities do we do? What are you doing now? How have things changed? What are the different types of education we can provide? It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to not know everything. Prioritize your tasks. When you've made that long list of things to do the night before, look at it again in the morning and figure out what is it that I absolutely have to get done today and what can wait till tomorrow. Just because a list has been made does not mean that we have to check everything off today. So when we can do that, when we can say, okay, these are my 5 top priorities and I want to get these accomplished by the end of the day, it takes so much stress off when you've got 20 things on your list. Ask for help when needed. We have family, we have friends, we have neighbors, we have resources. If you don't have resources, ask to see where we can find them. The internet, after telling you don't have so much time on your devices, but we have so many resources on hand through our, Google's a great help. Seek something out, and I think we have quite a bit of resources for you at the end of this. And then communicate with the person that you're caring for, with your family, whoever you're living with, when you have stress or when you don't have stress, when you need help, when you're feeling distressed. I'm so sorry. This is not good. I apologize. I thought everything was turned off, but it's not. But absolutely communicate. The more you talk about these things, the better you will feel. You can unload, you can unburden, and then you don't feel so alone. A lot of our stress can sometimes be because we feel like we have to do everything by ourselves, and that is not true. If we talk to other people, we can find help, support, and we can find that other people are also going through similar things. And so it's really helpful and beneficial to have those conversations with people.
Karen, there's a couple of comments I'd like to share with you. So Rita mentioned, just thank you for the comments on limiting social media and how important that is. And one additional comment, it said it was from Teresa, and that was that it's a great reminder that we don't have to know or do everything.
Good. And it's hard to remember that when everything is on your shoulders or you feel like it's on your shoulders. So I'm glad that that's helpful. If all of these things are not working for you, please seek professional help if your feelings become overwhelming. It's so important, and there's such a stigma out there, that, oh my gosh, they have mental health issues or all of these things, but we're human beings with burdens that perhaps human beings long before us didn't have or did have, and we've been shamed about seeking help. But professional help is so important, and it's readily available. So please, please, please don't feel like there's something to hide or to feel ashamed about. Seek help. It can only benefit you. It's not going to hurt you at all. So if you feel like you need to talk to somebody, talk to your physician, reach out and get the professional help that you need. Okay, so then we need to know where to go if we need some help. We have some mental health resources from the CDC. We have COVID-19 resources because we are still in the middle of the pandemic, even though things are starting to lighten up. But then, we hear about all these other new viruses that are out there. And so things are changing all of the time. which can also cause stress. But there are definitely resources there, and they are updating that frequently. And again, that we have Very Well Minded, which is a wonderful resource. If you haven't ever been on that website, activeminds.com. There was, I must have forgotten to put it on there. There is an app, and I'll send it to Kristen so Kristen can send it forward. That I was just listening to the other day that just helps you to meditate. It's no more than 5 to 10 minutes. There are longer ones if you have longer amount of time, that just help you to recenter who you are and replenish you and strengthen you and allow you to feel that self-importance and that value into yourself, so that you can then be ready for the next day and sleep well and be fully prepared to do the caregiving that you do each and every day. And if you don't hear it enough, we want to just take a moment and tell you thank you for what you do, because without you, your loved one, your family would not be where they are. And what you do is so important and so valuable. You are valuable. Okay, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Karen. Okay, so at this time, I'd like to open it up for any questions or comments. I see a few of you are unmuted, so if you want to just speak up and ask your own questions or comments, you're welcome to do so. If you feel more comfortable putting it into the chat box, I'd be happy to ask the questions to Karen for you, or provide any comments. Karen, you mentioned mindfulness and meditation, and I do want to invite everybody that's participating today for our community connections webinars that we do. Our upcoming one is going to be on July the 28th. So July the 28th, those are at 12 o'clock noon. And our topic is meditation and mindfulness tips. And I know you're also doing that presentation as well. So you're all welcome to join us for that. You can reach out to me if you would like that information on how to join us. And then I also would like to invite you back to next month's Caring for the Caregiver presentation, again, presented by Sutter Health and Community Hospice. And that topic is going to be helpful ways to manage pain at home. And Karen Hall is going to be doing our presentation on that. I know she's working on it currently, and she is a nurse with years and years and years of experience, who also has specialized in pain management. So we're really excited to have her join us for that. And that will be on August the 12th at 11 o'clock, same time, right here, same link to join us as well. So we hope that you'll take the time and join us. A couple of comments, just thank you, Karen and Kristen. Loved reminders that we are all human. It's easy to forget that sometimes. So thank you very much, Teresa, for your comment. And then another one, thank you for the reminder of what to look for and things we can change to mitigate stress, which is also really important. So Rochelle, thank you so much for sharing. If there are no other questions or comments, I'll give you a moment to join us and speak up if you'd like, or enter it into the chat box. I don't think that there's any more. So with that, we're going to go ahead and close today's session. Again, thank you for joining us. I hope you guys all stay well and healthy. We're going to have a big heat wave here this through the weekend. So please try to stay cool. Make sure to stay hydrated and take care of yourself. Karen, thank you so much again for all of your time and the information. You're always a huge resource to us, and we really appreciate all that you do. All right.
Thank you, Kristen.
You're very welcome. You all take care.
Bye.